In this application, Silverlight is used in windowless mode, together with some HTML controls overlaid on it, to form an input and output application that has an ASP.NET and web services backend to create a simple stock quote application. You can see the application in action here. As I enter different stock tickers into the text box and press the Get button, I receive a quote for that stock, and this quote contains various pieces of data about the stock, including things such as the last traded price, whether it's currently ticking up or down and by how much, the name of the company, its opening price, and its daily high and low. So how does this all work? Well, first let's take a look at the back end. The back end is an ASP.NET application called GenerateXAML.aspx. This application references a distant web service called Quote Service. When you add a web service to a Visual Studio project, you receive what's called a web services proxy that's generated for you by the IDE. In this case, I've created a reference to the web service and I call the reference Quote Service. This then generates a proxy for me called Quote Service. I can then use this proxy and an instance of this proxy called myQuote that I've declared here to call the web service and pass it a ticker. The ticker was just received by this application in its request query string. This web service returns XML encoded in a string, and I can use that string to load up a new XML document that I call XML quote. So I now have the return values for the stock quote for this application serialized in XML within an XML document. The next thing I want to do is to take the XAML, my templated XAML, and then replace the values within the template with the live values from the stock quote service. So I do this by loading my templated XAML into another XML document that I call XML doc. You can see my template XAML here, where I've defined how I want the user interface to appear, and it's just a number of text blocks. The text blocks that I want to change values for example the last price, I have named. I could define the XAML any way I like, and provided I keep the names the same, then the new XAML would be rendered. I would just call it template.xaml, and I would be able to customize my UI. So now all I have to do is go through my XAML, for example for the last price, and in my XML doc where I've loaded the template, I just have to find the node that was called TLast, and I do that using an XPath variable. I pull that out into an XML node, and then I set the XML node's inner text property to be the inner text of the node within my quote that was called last, and also I use an XPath to pull out the last value. In the case where the stock is ticking up, I can then just set the foreground attribute of my XAML to be light green, otherwise I set it to be red. I do similar functionality for the company name, for the open price, the high price, the low price, and the change price. And now once I've edited my XAML, I just set my response stream content type to be text XAML, and I write my XAML, the contents of my XML doc, which is its outer XML to the response stream, and I've written XAML out. So let's take a look at how the front end then uses this. The front end is just a static HTML file called default.html. It's very straightforward, and it creates an instance of the Silverlight control using create Silverlight in the standard way. The create Silverlight functionality is implemented in the create Silverlight JavaScript. I also have a reference to silverlite.js, and silverlite.js just has the functionality required to download and instantiate Silverlight if it's not already present on the system. In addition to this, I have a div which is of type position absolute, which has been positioned in a way so that it's overriding the XAML and overriding the Silverlight control, and because the Silverlight control was built in windowless mode, the HTML will override it, and it gives us the appearance of the text box and the button being written as part of the Silverlight control. The button on the page defines its onClick event handler to be button 1 on click, and we can see button 1 on click here. What this does is it creates a reference to the Silverlight control, which was called agcontrol1, as a JavaScript var called slcontrol, and then it gets the value of the text box, so whatever I typed into the text box is loaded into Java var called ticker, and then it simply sets the source property of the Silverlight control to generate XAML, passing it this ticker. Generate XAML returns XAML, the source property gets uploaded with that XAML, and then the application will refresh, giving me the new stock quote. The final result is the stock quote application that we saw at the beginning. We can see it in action again here. Here's my default.html, my XAML is being loaded, and here's my Microsoft CP. And if I type in another stock ticker such as VII and click Get, Generate XAML has gone out. It's queried the web service for the latest stock quote for VII. It's gotten the details for VII, injected them into a XAML document, and sent it down to the browser, and the browser just sets that to the source of the Silverlite control, and here we have a stock quote. So, using Silverlite, ASP.NET, and web services, we've been able to demonstrate how you can build quite a powerful, rich, connected application very, very easily. Thank you.